Good morning. You are listening to KSFS Radio San Francisco. KSFS is proudly brought to you by the Department of Broadcast and Electronic Communication Arts at San Francisco State University. Some rights reserved under the Creative Commons license. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Grief Support Group. I'm your host, Alex Piscatelli, and you are listening to the show where I talk all things pop culture, my research on grief and media, and I answer your advice questions. Okay, we have a very, very exciting show today, actually. And this is some big news. Actually, I have breaking news I just got in my email, which I'll read in a second. But first and foremost, you are listening to the season finale of Grief Support Group. Not the series finale, okay? I will be back in 2025, but the season finale. So we will be taking a bit of a holiday break. Not necessarily by choice, more because the building closes. Whatever, I get it. It's the holidays. But I am excited to come back in 2025, and there will be lots more Grief Support Group to come. I promise you that. But today it's going to be a chill show. You know what I mean? I say this and then I talk for like 50 minutes, but it's going to be a chill show. I haven't had coffee. I've had 3 hours of sleep. I am wearing bows in my hair. And the reason I'm doing that is because and I can say this with authority because I used to do cheer in which you would wear bows all the time. So I say this with authority. No one is wearing bows in their hair unless they mean business, okay? I have bows in my hair because I mean business. I have things to do today. I have my final project that I am presenting for the semester. Once today is done, I mean, I have like a tutoring shift on campus tomorrow, but once like tomorrow is done, wait, hold on. 3/4 done with grad school, which has gone by so fast. I'm like in a daze. I'm so confused. It could be the lack of coffee thus far today, but I don't know how we got here. And I have some sentimental words that I want to say. However, I need to share this breaking news that I just got in my inbox. It's no big deal, but it actually, like, my feet are tingly because I just like looked at my email as Get Well Soon by Ariana Grande, which you just heard was playing. Love that song, by the way. I just like opened my emails because I have to check them like social media, and I had not opened my Gmail yet today, and I open it and I just see in the title like one of the schools I applied for my PhD for, and it says like that school application. And then I was like, oh my God, what is this? I'm scared. And I click it, and it's just saying like your application has been released to the faculty admissions committee for review. But what a shocking message to get in the morning. My feet are tingly in a way that coffee can't do to you. The only thing that can do that to you is like tequila, okay? And that's what that email just did to me. But we're here. Welcome. welcome. Okay, welcome. It's going to be a great show. We're going to be talking a little bit about my final project because it has to do with grief, and it has to do with kind of my research and analysis that brought me to what I did for my final project for one of my classes. Next, I'm going to be talking about my rebrand. And the reason why this is important is because I think it has a lot of like media conversation and implications that I want to get to. And then also, I have 2 advice questions today, okay? One of them is going to be about toxic people and toxic friends and people who are undercover ops, which I'm super excited about. And the other advice question is about, I did not plant this question, okay? So thank you to the person who sent it. But it's going to be about being friends with exes. Yes, we are back on that conversation. Again, I did not tell this person to submit it. I have no idea who submitted it. If you're listening to this, thank you, because this is all I ever want to talk about. So we'll be getting to that today, certainly. But yeah, once again, I wanted to say that I can't believe these past 10 shows have gone by so quickly, that this semester has gone by so quickly. I'm just really, really thankful for you all for listening to this show. I'm thankful to like have the opportunity to work on this show. I think it's funny because it came together so easily, in which like I was teaching this semester radio and podcasting, and I was like, okay, well, since my students are all having a show, their own shows, and I was listening and they were so fun, I was like, well, obviously I need to have a radio show again. I hadn't had a radio show since undergrad, since 2018. Well, since before that, because I did beef, remember, but with people at the radio. So I think since 2017, but I mean, this came together so easily. But I think the reason that it came together so easily was because it's kind of like everything that I've done and everything that I've experienced has led me to this show. Every radio show I've worked on, every podcast I've worked on has had to do with either dating or pop culture or grief. And this show, I feel like, has come together and like merged all these interests of mine in a way that, I don't know, like I think like grief support group, like if we break that down, and I don't want to like get all into rhetoric or whatever, but like grief, like obviously encompasses death and so much of death, but like I think grief comes naturally with life, because you can't have life without death and grief. So I feel like it's obviously discussing specifically like grief that comes from death and losing people around you and people you love and care about, but also it comes from just like this natural human thing that we go through, which is to grieve. And it's not like a negative emotion. And that's why I wanted to make the show so lighthearted and have like all these like pink, like, I don't know, themes. And like I post my little collages on the Instagram page at Grief and Media, but like it was always meant to be fun and kind of like juxtapose this idea of like grief and death with like the, I don't know, levities of life as well. And then like support and group, I guess those like both go hand in hand, but like it's meant to be like a communal thing, like a community thing where like obviously I'm on the radio and you can tune in live and whatever, but then like you can send in questions, and like I want to have the conversation go how like the people listening want it to go, you know what I mean? Like if you send in a question, I'm going to give time and space to answer that. So like it's such a community, like we're in this together type show, and I hope that is translated to y'all. I don't know, I'm just like so happy to be working on this, and like I said, it came so easily. Like literally the title Grief Support Group came to me like, I hope you heard my snap, like that. But yet it's just been like all these years of both podcasting and life experience that have led to this. I don't know. And I don't want to be the person that's like too sentimental at the function. Like, I don't know if anyone else is feeling this, but like, I'm just so thankful to be here and to be working on this, and that you're all listening and like you're spending time to listen to this and, I don't know, talk about grief and love and dating and pop culture in this environment. Yeah, I think like one of my favorite compliments I got this semester was someone said that my show feels like a modern day like Sex and the City, but with nuance. And obviously like if you're a zillennial, or I guess millennial or whatever, I'm a zillennial, okay, I'm Gen Z, but like if you are of that like generation, like you're like in your 20s and 30s right now, like late 20s 30s right now, like you grew up with Sex and the City, and you know, you grew up with like 13 going on 30 and Never Been Kissed and Cosmo magazine and 17 magazine and all these different like shows or like media that like showcased woman storytellers, and like the way that they told their stories was by like processing their identity and their emotions and the relationships around them and the world around them. And obviously I grew up with that, so like I became a journalism major and like wanted to work in media, I think because of all these things that I grew up with. Like, I don't know if anyone listens to Las Culturistas, but they do the like interview question of like, what piece of culture made you realize culture was for you? And like I have many different answers for that, like America's Next Top Model, like Jersey Shore, Catfish, whatever, like so many things. But so I guess reality TV and then like women's media are the two things for me. But I think like seeing like stories depict like rom-coms always had like a journalist or like an editor as like their main protagonist, and I think the reason for that is because like this character could be so like emotionally vulnerable and like be struggling to find like something that she really wants or like some goal that she has or whatever. But like her emotional vulnerability is like what aids her in like whatever the conflict is in the story, right? And then like Cosmo and 17, I don't know, I just grew up with all these things, like, and I think when I would read Cosmo and 17, like there'd be like the embarrassing story confessions, there'd be advice, there'd be like news features, like there'd be like in a deep dive into like a particular like crime or a particular story, there'd be features of like whatever celebrity and a deep dive into that celebrity, and there'd be like astrology and all these things I think are media that like allow us to like dig deeper in a way and to like think about ourselves and our places in the world around us more. And that's what is important to me to do within Grief Support Group, and that's what's important to me to do in my career. So all of this to say is I'm so happy to be here. I cannot wait to be back for 2026. This is not the last you'll see of me, and I'm so excited for more. Okay, before we get into our first music break, I just want to say a quick happy birthday to my mom. Yesterday would have been her 71st birthday, which is so insane. And also, I don't think she'd want me to say her age on air. So I don't know why I just did that. I'll have to cut that out in post-production. But yeah, she's just literally the best person I've ever known and will ever know. I miss her so much. If we could celebrate with her, we certainly would have sat with coffee. Okay. I think maybe tomorrow, like after finals are done. But we would have gone to Sushi Deli, certainly. She would have ordered her California rolls. Yeah, and it would have been so fun. So happy birthday to my mom. And let's get into our first music break. I'll see y'all soon. Welcome back to Grief Support Group. Once again, I almost missed coming back in because I was taking selfies. But anyway, that is fine. That's beside the point. We just listened to Is It New Year's Yet by Sabrina Carpenter and Dreamcheater by Jade. Two very great songs. Actually, today's playlist is really good. What can I say? But I feel that way every week. Okay, so we're in the part of the show now, and you are listening, by the way, to Grief Support Group. We are in the part of the show now where typically I would talk about my thesis update, but since I am good for right now about my thesis, more to come in 2026. But I will be discussing my final project for school and then a little bit about my imminent rebrand. So first, let me discuss my project. So I'm taking a class right now, and it's a media aesthetics and like production theory class. So I feel like I can't even watch a movie anymore without like analyzing it. Like I'm just thinking about like the way the director shot it, whatever. And I've never been someone who's been like, oh my God, that director's vision. Like, but I guess that's what being in grad school in a media program does to you. But anyway, so I am doing this. So we essentially had to like script and storyboard a 2 to 3 minute scene and then like write a whole paper analyzing it with like theory and whatever. So I had this idea, and I think it was my idea. I'm pretty sure it was my idea. So my husband, let me start off there. He has this little stuffed animal. I call it a rodent because it looks like one. I guess it's a sloth, but he has this little stuffed animal, like rodent looking creature that like had headphones, or no, sorry, earmuffs. But I call them headphones, that he got last year at Safeway. Like it was the holiday display. He saw this little rodent like sitting alone, and he was like, I need to bring him home. And he had his like little label says Logan on it, which I just find really funny. So this little thing's named Logan, and like my husband's like, you don't like Logan, and I'm like, no, like I like Logan, like he's fine. I appreciate his presence. Like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna spoon him, you know what I mean? But I like his presence in the room. But it's just like this funny, like we laugh about Logan, right? And I sort of had this idea at some point where like, what if Logan was like a murderer? And it just like made me laugh. Like the thought of it just makes me laugh. And then I ended up like writing this so like this was due today. This is due today. I'm presenting it today. But I like had this idea during the semester. So luckily like storyboarding and script writing wasn't difficult at this end of year. The writing the paper, let me tell you, this is like, honestly, I'm not proud of this paper, but like the actual story itself, I had started like kind of jotting down ideas a couple months ago for it, because I knew this final project would be coming around. But essentially I have written a story, and it takes place in San Francisco, and it's where this journalist named Adrian like is kind of struggling to do his job as a reporter at a local news station, and he's sort of struggling to do his job after the death of his brother. And when there's like this murder in his neighborhood of a politician, of a local well-loved politician, Adrian knows like, okay, this is like, I'm gonna get back into it. Like I'm ready. Like this is my time to shine post the loss of his brother. And it's like a brutal murder case, right? And like we as the audience know like the murderer was Logan. Which I just find so funny. Like it's so silly. Like if you go to Grief and Media Instagram, like in my little collage I posted, Logan his face is there. He's just like a little, like he doesn't even have a mouth. Like how can he murder? But I just find it so funny, and we're not being graded necessarily on the story, so like I was just having fun with it. But what I really like about like this project, and what was important to me in my like storytelling, and it was more like in the aesthetics I did, because I really wanted to balance like he lives in this very like densely populated, like very stereotypical San Francisco, like bright homes like right next to each other, right? But like you get a look into Adrian's room, and it's like super empty and dark. Like he's kind of like on the phone with his news director in the scene in the dark. And so like it's like this juxtaposition of like the brightly colored, densely populated community like neighborhood, and his kind of soulless and emptiness and loneliness in his apartment, in his actual room. And then you're also kind of juxtaposing you're juxtaposing good with evil, because like I want Logan to have just like killed the politician, because it was like wrong place, wrong time, and Logan was trying to like make a murder happen right outside Adrian's door, so like he would have a story and have like that like intrinsic motivation to like work on something in his community, whereas Logan didn't know it was going to be a politician. But then like I want later in the story where the politician is like he was like doing embezzlement and fraud and all these things, and I want it to be where someone was like plotting to kill him, and like Logan got away with it first. So there's this whole side plot of like this other murderer is like trying to figure out who the heck murdered like the person I meant to murder. I'ma murder them. So Logan's like on the run, okay? Like he has a lot going on. So I wanted this kind of like juxtaposition of good versus evil, especially as Adrian uncovers these details of like who the politician really was, and like what kind of shady business they had going on, with like this like idea of who they are, and like how do you treat someone once they die? Like do you sort of like honor them and memorialize like the them you knew, or like the person that you discover they are after they've died? And then also like just this idea of this like little plushie with like cold hard murder, which is like so impersonal. Like it's actually the most impersonal thing you could ever do. But then this little like plushie who's meant to be like comforting and literally just cute. So yeah, I just like had a lot of fun with it. As you can see, I'm very in the world of Logan. And I think one thing that I was really particularly like found important is I made a little playlist for Logan, like an official soundtrack, which I will link. But like as I was doing my analysis, I was like, okay, the thing that inspired the music behind Logan, because I have songs like Bad Idea by Ariana Grande and Club Classics by Charlie XCX, and like I have Nowhere Man by the Beatles and Live and Let Die. Like I have all these different songs because I wanted it to be like a fun experience where like you are like looking at themes of like grief and death and like like this scandal going on in this community, but also like it's like absurd, right? Because this little like rodent sloth thing is like killing people. And so like I wanted the music to like take you out of like the seriousness and like have and be fun and be a little absurd. And so like I was looking for, because what inspired me for that in particular was Megan, like the movie Megan. And there's this scene where, which obviously for those not familiar, like this person who makes robots, the niece's parents die. So she takes the niece in and then like she like builds her robot because she doesn't know how to like parent a kid who just lost her parents. And like Megan, the robot, ends up like killing people and whatever. It's crazy. And so I love a particular scene, and it's like a fan favorite one where like Megan starts singing Titanium, like I am titanium. And like it's just so funny. Like it's like silly, but like the lyrics like kind of ring true because it's like I'm bulletproof, like whatever. And so like Megan can't be destructed, and you're like getting a sign of that, but it's also so absurd and silly and campy. And so like I talked about that in my analysis as well, and like the inspiration for it. But as I was talking about that, I didn't realize how closely, like, first of all, I've been writing Logan in all caps, Logan, Megan in all caps. Like it looks kind of the same, which was not my intention. Also just like Megan being a story about like fun, but also like death and grief. Yeah. The thing is that like inspiration, you don't know what takes up rent in your mind. Like you don't know what's living in your mind rent free. And I think Megan certainly lives in my mind rent free. The parallels, I did not plagiarize, like I did not mean it to be a thing. I had proper citations, but I really didn't realize how closely aligned Logan and Megan were. So yeah, stay tuned for my 8-part series, Logan, coming to a theater near you. Anyway, so I'll be presenting that today, but before we get into our advice questions, I just wanted to say like one quick thing. So I have deleted Instagram, and so I have to figure that out because Instagram is like where we connect with each other, which really sucks. And I want to be on it, but I just find it to be such a like time suck, and I find it to be such a like advertising, and it's rotting our brains, which is research is showing by like having all the like short form continuous scroll content, and so it just bothered me. And then like so I've been bothered for a while. And then I opened Instagram on Saturday, and I don't know if anyone here watches Love Island. Make some noise. Love that show. I can't lie, but like my favorite person to have ever been on Love Island is this woman named Janae, and she was on season 6 of the US season. And it was her birthday on Saturday, and she posted a birthday post. And I was like looking at the photos because it didn't look like her. Like she posted like a like Santa, like 3 photos of her in like a Santa outfit, and I was like, wait, I'm so confused. Like I was like, what are these photos? Like it literally didn't look like her. And then I read the caption, and she's like, oh, it's my birthday, like I didn't have time to take photos, so like these ones will do for now, or like these fake ones will do for now, or whatever. And I'm like, she AI'd like photos of herself for a birthday post, which is like frankly low-key like an intimate thing. Like if you're posting for your birthday and you love your birthday, as Sagittariuses do, like you are like not gonna post fake photos. And this is someone who influences for like a job, like for a career. Like you have plenty of photos at hand to post. So I found it really just off-putting because I'm like, this person who's so gorgeous and beautiful, like is posting photos that don't even look like her. And I'm like, one, it's AI, which I just hate like the thought of like putting yourself in AI. And 2, like it just felt so like the, I don't know, the dysmorphia of it all. It just felt so deeply unsettling to me. So I literally unfollowed everyone I follow from Instagram or from Love Island on Instagram, and then I deleted my Instagram. Yeah. So I don't know, like, I don't know where I'm at. I feel like, so Pinterest released kind of predictions for 2026, like brand predictions, because I'm still seeing social media, like predictions and stuff, and I still consume that. I still want to know, you know what I mean? But one of their predictions was like, oh, snail mail is going to be so common. People are going to love snail mail. And like on Pinterest, everyone's going to be searching like stationery and different things to send to each other, and we're going to be a lot more like intentional and offline with our communication with each other. And I loved that. And I've been feeling that way too, where I think a lot of people in my Zillennial, because I'm Gen Z category, feel like we're kind of being like, ew, like social media is just so impersonal and disturbing in many ways, and just such, like I said, such a time suck. Like, it doesn't feel good to be on social media, where when you used to go on social media, like, it felt very community focused and you were actually seeing things from the people you love and care about, or that you know in person and like want to talk shit about, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's I don't know, it's just so different than it used to be. And I think we're all sort of becoming a bit radicalized to that fact that these social media companies do not care about the consumer. They just care about keeping you on the app and making money from you. And so all's that to say, I don't know what I'm going to do about Instagram, because I also think it's a good way for me to stay in touch and to share my writing and my podcasting, and I don't know. But one thing I was thinking about is, like, again, I just talked about how much I love Cosmo and 17 magazine. I mean, I grew up with those. I had a monthly subscription. I would come home from school when it was like mail day, and I would lay on my bed and read it, like on my stomach, like, you know what I mean? Like elbows, like with the magazine open, and just like read it for 2 hours. And I miss that. And I'm thinking of releasing a little something. That's all I could say. I'm going to tease that. I hope it, because if I don't end up doing it, then I'm going to like be like, wait, why did I tease that? Okay. So we're going to take our next music break, and then we are going to get into our advice questions. So I'll see you soon. Okay, welcome back to Grief Support Group. You just heard December by Ariana Grande, because it is that time of year we are listening to all of our Christmas tunes. Okay, so we have 2 advice questions to get to before the end of the year. The last advice questions of the year. Wait, that's wild. Okay, so if you want to ask an advice question for a future episode, one coming in 2026, you can do so at bit.ly/KSFS advice. That's bit.ly/KSFS advice. Getting into our first question, this person said, recently discovered some friends or even situationships were actually undercover ops and moving in ways where they were jealous of me and rooting for my downfall. How do I avoid these people in the future, especially when they seem nice and a real friend at first? Okay. I find this question very interesting, and I'm going to say something. I know I've been getting a little a little mean on these advice questions. No, I don't think I am. I say this gently. I don't mean this in a mean way, but this does sound like a you problem. Like, this does sound like a personal problem. And what I mean by that is that I'm reading this and I'm genuinely trying to like figure out a situation that I can relate to regarding this, but I'm finding it hard to do so. And I think the reason why is because I have never been in this situation where someone that I became friends with or like started kind of dating was someone who was like jealous of me and wanting me to do poorly. I haven't personally encountered that. And I don't think it's a bad thing about you. I'm just saying it is something about you. And I think the best way to address this advice question is to kind of dig deeper into why that is. And so I think we all have like a me problem. You know what I mean? Like, I say this is a you problem, but I'm not like, oh, this is a you problem. Like, you suck. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying we all have our own like me problems. So for me, a me problem that I have, like in probably almost all of my friend breakups that I've ever had, or like kind of, yeah, friend breakups that I've had, like I have this like situation, or I have this tendency, I don't know, I have this recurring theme where people think I'm like a closer friend to them than I am. And so like I'm someone who I'm a very in-person person. I think I've talked about this before, but like I'm really bad at texting back. Like I'm not really gonna give you a call, like, but I'll be like, hey, like if we're in the same vicinity or whatever, I'll be like, hey, let's hang out. And then like if I'm hanging out with you, like I am staring at you. Like I am not on my phone. I am asking you questions. I'm fully present. Like that's just the kind of friend I am. Like, I'm really bad at reaching out to people and like having regular contact, especially a friend who doesn't live in the same city as me. But like when I'm in person with you, I am in person with you, and I'm there. And so I think as a result, like when I've had circumstantial friends, like a friend that I made at work and I see them every day at work, then we work somewhere else. Or like I have like in college, like I had people that I saw all the time because we were so like always together. And then as soon as we graduated, like they had a problem with like my lack of being in touch with them. And it's not because like I didn't consider them a good friend or whatever. But like, I mean, like I text, like, let's be real, like my mom, I would text all the time. Like in Jack, I text all the time. Anyone else, I find it hard. So it's like, I do, and like, I'm bad at it, but like with my sister and like my best friend Megan, like I try to respond like timely, in a timely manner. So that being said, if someone's not like one of my closest friends, like, or closest people, like I struggle with communicating with them. And so as a result, I think people in my past, I've had friendship breakups because people have felt like I'm like too aloof or like don't keep in touch, and then are upset with that. And then like I end up sort of being aloof in a friend breakup where I like don't always communicate what I mean because I don't always feel like I need to. Which again, I know this is like not it. Now I'm in the hot seat. I put you, advice question asker, in the hot seat. Now it's me. But regardless, I have thought about this and I've unpacked it because it's been a common theme. It has happened multiple times. And that's how you know it's kind of a me issue. You know what I mean? Like if something is happening to you over and over and over again, I don't think you can blame the people, obviously, because that sucks that they're being like all fake and weird to you and toxic. But like, I think you can think about like, what sort of friendships am I making and where am I meeting people who are so toxic? Like, is there anything in common there? Because again, it's a you problem, and it doesn't mean it's something wrong with you. It just means it's a tendency you have. And I think that is why it ends up being a repeated pattern. I think once we sort of acknowledge what kind of situations we end up getting ourselves in, we can figure out how to stop it if we want to stop it. And so if you're meeting people, like recently discovered friends or situationships, like are moving in ways where they're jealous of you and rooting for your downfall, why is it? Have you are these people that you met, like in a circumstance in which they would be jealous of like whatever it is that they're jealous of? You know what I mean? Like if you, I like, this is like literally such a not correct example, but I was thinking like if you were in like a singles club and then like you got a partner and then the people that were in the club with you like were like upset that you got a partner, like maybe that's why, you know what I mean? Like what is the thing that's making them jealous of you and rooting for your downfall? Again, I'm not saying it is like anything inherently wrong with you, but I think if this is something that you want to address, I think you have to really figure out what your part in attracting these people is. I hope that's helpful. I hope that wasn't too harsh. Again, I wrote down, I say this gently because I really wanted to ensure I was saying it gently. So I hope that is helpful. And we have one more advice question, but first we're going to take a music break. And this is, okay, it's Love Stoned, I think she knows, from Justin Timberlake. This is a 7-minute song. I'm going to cut it. I'll see y'all in a minute. Welcome back to Grief Support Group. Like I said, you just listened to Justin Timberlake. And the truth of the matter is that I forget Justin Timberlake exists, which is a good thing, because sometimes I feel like wasn't he... No, never mind. That was Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis. I was like, weren't they the ones that said like they don't like bathe their leg, like they don't wash their legs? Anyway, I feel like Justin Timberlake is always like out and about doing something wild. I can't think what at the moment. Oh, the tour. This is gonna ruin the tour. But like his past albums, I can't lie. They are incredible. So like I remember how much I loved Justin Timberlake growing up, and now I'm gonna be listening to that album on repeat. Okay, we are in our time for our final advice question of 2025. And what better way to end this year and end this season of Grief Support Group than with a question about being friends with your exes? And I swear to God, I did not plant this question, but is it one that I'm so enthused to discuss? Yes, of course. So this person asked, do you believe in being friends with exes? Oh, sure do I do. Okay. Is it actually healthier or not worth it? This ex I have to see pretty regularly because of work, and while I'd rather just be no contact completely, I can't be. Okay, so first of all, and this isn't a diss to you, this is just a heads up if anyone else wants to listen to me talk about being friends with exes. I discuss it in 2 other podcast episodes, but yeah, I'm happy to discuss it again. Trust, I'm ready to do it. The 2 episodes I talk about it are Grief Support Group number 4 and Grief Support Group number 5. So if you are interested in this topic, I explore it in those episodes as well. But yeah, so first of all, I get that we all have different opinions on this. I don't know why I wanted to say firmly, I'm firmly grasp it. But I fully feel like being friends with exes is a good thing. I think the reason why is because I think people come and go in our lives, and unless someone did something really heinous and really horrible, I do like the idea of being in, or not in touch, but having good feelings with someone, having good, I'm getting a phone call. I am on my radio show, everyone. But I do think it's important to have kind of goodwill with people, because you spent presumably good time with them, however long you were with this ex. You spent time with them and you had good memories with them. And I don't think just because you broke up means that those good memories have to go away. And again, if there was any hurt and harm with this person, I think that is your own thing to recognize and to understand and to decide how you want to move forward. But if it just ended in a way that relationships sort of end and you didn't see a future with them, I think it's good to be civil with someone. And you said this is someone you have to see pretty regularly because of work, and while you'd rather be no contact completely, I can't be. I'm curious why you want to be no contact with them. Was it something bad that happened, or was it just for your own sort of moving forward that you don't want to have a relationship with them moving forward? That's my question for you, because if it is something that you they hurt you, I don't think you have any obligation to be around them. And yes, you have to for work, but that doesn't mean it has to be more than just hi, how are you? Okay, bye. Now, if you see them pretty regularly from work and you are considering a friendship with them and things didn't end super horribly, yeah, why not? And my argument for this is that I think a lot of friendships and a lot of relationships we have with people around us in our day-to-day are circumstantial. Obviously you have your family, you have your good friends, you have your chosen family, you have whatever, people that you seek out seeing on a regular basis. But then you have people at work or school or whatever your sort of day-to-day life experience is, or the bank, or you know what I mean, all these different places, or your coffee shop, and they're pleasant and you can have a conversation with them and you really enjoy it. But it doesn't mean you have to be friends with them either. It can be completely circumstantial. You could be so civil and so friendly with this ex when you see them at work, and you all could have a conversation together, and you could ask them how, their mom is doing, or how their dog is doing, or how whatever is going. And you can have these friendly and conversations where you show you care, and you may care in the moment, but then as soon as you all stop working together, you can never talk to them again. And I think that's completely valid too, because I think a lot of friendships are circumstantial in that way. I think when we think about being friends with an ex, it's such a sort of daunting thing because you're like, okay, is this someone that like I have to sort of let my guard down in a way to let them back in? Because like when a breakup happens, like your guard is down when you're in a relationship with someone, presumably, right? And then you break up and you're putting those walls back up, and this person maybe doesn't know you anymore, doesn't know who you are, or whatever it may be. And I think it's, you know, it doesn't have to be that deep, unless you want it to be. And again, that's your choice to make. It doesn't sound like you want to make that choice, but it could be just circumstantial and you could just keep the peace. And who knows, maybe you'll really enjoy knowing this person, in kind of an acquaintance way and not in a deep way. So I think you should weigh the pros and cons, really think about how they treated you when you were together, how they're treating you now, and make your decision from there. But again, nothing has to be set in stone. Nothing has to be concrete. You don't have to invite him over for dinner. I say him, I don't know why I assumed it's a him, but you don't have to invite this person over for dinner, but be civil with them and see, if that works for you. And I think it might make it all feel less awkward. Like it might make you feel kind of more in everything with this person. So I hope that makes sense. If anyone has any advice questions moving forward, you can ask them at bit.ly/KSFS advice. That is bit.ly/KSFS advice. And this was our final show of 2025. Again, this is not the last of me. You'll be seeing me in 2026, and I will have plenty more to say then. But yeah, I am so grateful for these 10 episodes and for you spending your mornings with me, or whatever time you're listening to this, if you're listening as a podcast after the fact. But again, thank you all so much. Yeah, I like want to hug you all. Is that weird? Okay, well, thank you all. I appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. And again, I'll see you next year.